Ah, yes, Kanji FPL, welcome back to the church. I think it's time for your confession appointment. Why don't you come through? It's been a while. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. I have committed an egregious crime. For the last 10 weeks, I've gone against Arsenal defense. I don't know why I did this, but I did, man. Forgive me for my sins. I made a grave error. So you're telling me you went against Arsenal defense? Don't they have the best defensive statistics? What are you doing? Bro, you're such a dummy. Get out of this church, bro. You don't belong here, man. How's it going, guys? It's your boy Kanji FPL and welcome back to the channel. I am feeling so good. I'm really feeling like I'm on cloud nine. And you know why? Because Liverpool are top of the league, baby. Let's go. I'm feeling great. I know game week 30 was honestly a meh week for me. I didn't get a green arrow. I didn't get a red arrow. It was whatever. But my team looks really great moving forward. And so we'll jump into my game week 30 review as well as my transfer plans and my game week 31 team selection. A hit might be on the cards. Game week 30 is going to be Son's last dance in my team. The big decision this week came down to captaincy. Do you captain Mo Salah versus a leaky Brighton? Or do you captain Son versus the worst defense in the league, Luton? And it was really a 50-50 decision. Son ended up putting 1.07 underlying XGI, where Salah put up 1.57 underlying XGI. But Son outscored him. He scored 10 points because he got the bonus, and Salah missed so many chances that he also only got one goal, but got no bonus, and that was the difference between the two players. So I'm happy that I ended up on the right side of positive variance this time, but that's the thing you really got to remember is that Salah got more chances. I really feel like I dodged a bullet as a non-Salah owner, and those of you that captain Salah, you got really unlucky, to be honest, but that's just how FPL is this season. There's going to be variant swings here and there, and that's what it's going to be like from now until the end of the season. So I'm just hoping that I can continue getting some good positive luck, but unfortunately the one thing that really killed me was Arsenal defense. Somehow Arsenal put up a clean sheet at the Etihad, bro. That's unbelievable. That's actually crazy. Of course I had Saka and Odegaard. I'm deciding to go double Arsenal attack, whereas the meta definitely does feel like double Arsenal defense, but it's fine. I've kind of made my bed. I have to lie in it, but when I'm looking at my team, I just don't see an Arsenal defender. I didn't plan on having an Arsenal defender this week, but if they can put up a clean sheet at the Etihad, they can put up a clean sheet anywhere. Arsenal defense is crazy. They're easily the best defense in the league, especially when it's hard to find defensive returns, even if you include attacking returns. So yeah, I need to work on that moving forward. Moving on to my team, if we start with the keeper position, Pickford ended up with 2 points, whatever. I mean, I was hoping for a clean sheet between the Bournemouth and Everton game. Maybe like a 0-0 would have been the dream, but maybe like a 1-0 or 2-0 either way, I didn't really mind. But fortunately, Dominic Solanke was actually the one that scored against Pickford, and I do own Solanke for his 7-pointer, so that worked out for me. And Bournemouth somehow conceded to Everton. Even though Everton have been fluffing their lines and underperforming their XG, they put up enough to actually score. I think McNeil also hit the post. So if you're looking for a differential, McNeil is honestly a pretty solid shout, but it's just how it's been. Both teams to score has been hitting in every single Premier League match this season. It's unreal. Moving on to Malo Gusto, he was my differential this week, playing against Burnley at home, but Chelsea just create their own problems. Chelsea struggled to beat a 10-man Burnley side. If you can't beat Burnley, who are probably going to be relegated, you can't beat them with an extra man. Who are you actually going to beat this season? I have really strong doubts about Pochettino moving forward, his tactical setup. I don't know what they're doing. This team might not even finish in the top half. And that's not even a hot take. Like, I'm being completely honest. Like, I'm losing faith in Chelsea, but they do have some very solid fixtures moving forward. So fixtures look great. Unfortunately, Gusto pulled up with a hamstring injury, and that's just classic. Going for another differential, and of course they come up with an injury, but we'll monitor that for now, and that's just something I'll have to look into. But he's such a solid pick in terms of the double game weeks are going to be coming up for Chelsea, so I'm hoping that it won't be an issue long term. And there was some news that came out about Reece James, about the fact that there's a chance he doesn't play matches at the end of the season. He's potentially going to be sold in the summer. It are the rumors that we are hearing. So I'm happy to own Malo Gusto. I'm just hoping that his hamstring injury won't keep him out for too long. And Virgil van Dijk, he had Brighton at home. You know what? Van Dijk's record at Anfield is unreal. He's played 95 games and he's either won or drawn in 94 of them. Yo, Van Dijk is different. But unfortunately, Brighton scored 5 minutes into the match. So my differential was destroyed 5 minutes in. And I was kind of just like in a torture chamber watching Salah do so many shots, man. Ugh, that guy is different. I need to bring him into my squad ASAP. But Liverpool defense, I mean, it's just not that great. Arsenal defense is where it's at, honestly. So that's kind of what my thoughts are on my defense. Moving to my mids, I had Palmer and Son. Now, those of you that captain Palmer, I don't know if that was the right decision, but you got the right outcome. And Palmer's just been picking up penalties week in and week out. He's been so talismanic, genuinely inevitable. It's a cold, cold world out there. So shout out to those of you that captain Palmer, but most of you probably own him. He's the best enabler in the game. Heung-min Son, like I said, Spurs kind of struggled at times versus Luton, but Son just is one of the best finishers in all of world football. So I'm glad that I captained him. And of course, I had Saka, Odegaard, Foden, and Holland in the Arsenal versus Man City game, but it was just so boring. It's like both teams set up to not lose. It was genuinely a snooze fest. And I think that's something I want to keep in mind moving forward. Moving swiftly forward to the captaincy matrix, you'll be able to see the captaincy options that I have from Game Week 31 to Game Week 37. The only adjustment that I've made from the last video is going to be adding Salah to the Game Week 32 captaincy options. Honestly, Salah was so impressive in this game that I feel like he could be a genuine captaincy option in every single week, unless there is a double game week where there's a more obvious captain. I just think Salah is the best player in the Premier League right now, especially given the fact that Holland has been underperforming his underlying statistics. He just has been finishing that many chances. And honestly, in the match against Arsenal, he didn't get any chances. So I guess in the Arsenal fixture is different than what it would be like when he's playing against Aston Villa at home. But even in the Aston Villa fixture away from home, Man City didn't really get a kick of the ball. So I don't think I'm even going to consider captaining Holland this week. So it just simply comes down to Salah, who has Sheffield United at home, and Saka, who has Luton at home. And you know, when the game we started, I thought it was going to be a pretty big debate because when we're thinking about the Arsenal and Luton fixture, I'd expect Arsenal to score maybe 5 or 6 goals. I mean, that's what they did in the last couple matches before they played Man City. They're in red hot form. And Liverpool, they've been very inconsistent, but you can always trust Liverpool to score goals under Jurgen Klopp. Oh wow, just realizing I won't be able to say that for much longer. Damn, that's a pretty sad thought. Anyways, when I'm looking at the captaincy options this week, honestly, Salah just put his hand up. You know, when I watched that Brighton match, he had the most underlying XGI of any player that game week, and 12 shots? Are you kidding me? Yo, when Salah's playing at Sheffield United, the worst team in the league, it's just obvious to Captain Mo. Now, it really just comes down to which narrative you're looking at. Because when I'm looking at it from Salah, he has the Ramadan thing, where it's like he's fasting. Maybe they'll want to reduce his minutes, especially given the fact that Manchester United is only 2 or 3 days away after the Sheffield United fixture. They'll probably kill the game off in the first half, so Salah could get an early sub. Now, the problem with Saka is that he's nursing an injury. He got subbed off early in the Manchester City game. There's clearly something going on that he's been carrying something for the last couple months and it's been bothering him. There's a reason why he didn't start any of the matches in the international break. I know those were friendlies, but Gareth Southgate clearly just gave him some time off and I'm not sure if I would consider Saka. And the reason why I feel so strongly about captaining Salah, I know I'm a Liverpool fan, so I do sound biased, but if you just simply look at this chart, on the horizontal axis, you'll be able to see the XG per 90 of all the players in the Premier League, and on the vertical axis, you'll be able to see the XA per 90, and these are just for midfielders, I believe, in FPL. So when we're looking at it, you want somebody that's going to be in the top right corner, and of course, the Egyptian king is all the way at the top. He's averaging more XG and more XA than everyone, including Bukayo Saka. So to me, just looking at this alone, given the fact that the fixtures are so close, and I know that Salah is going through Ramadan, and it's just the fact that Saka is also nursing an injury, it's just obvious to me to be captaining the Egyptian king. Never doubt him. I think it's important to understand what your chip strategy is, so that way when you're making your transfers, you'll be able to maximize your points not only this week, but also when you're going to be using your chips. So for me, I'm going to be bench boosting in Game Week 34, as well as using my triple captain in Game Week 37. I don't have a free hit or a wildcard available. The reason that I am currently showing you pictures of goalkeepers is because these are the keepers that are going to be doubling in Game Week 34. Now, I currently have a goalkeeper dilemma because I've got Pickford playing against Newcastle away, and Newcastle played really well this week. Isak and Gordon put up a lot of XG. I think Newcastle put up over 3.0 XG this week, so I'd assume they're going to score versus Everton. And my backup keeper is going to be Kaminsky playing against Arsenal, so there's no way I would play him. And I think these are going to be the 6 options that I am considering. Gurbich, Henderson, and Kelleher are kind of ruled out for specific reasons. Gurbich because he plays for Sheffield United, no disrespect. Henderson, first of all, that just gives me Liverpool vibes to Jordan Henderson. But Dean Henderson, I don't really rate the player right now. He's been going through some up and down spells, and I'm not sure if I rate Crystal Palace either. It's not a Roy Hodgson team anymore. They have a new manager. They're playing more attacking football. So I'm not sure I really want to bring in a goalkeeper from them. And Jurgen Klopp came out in an interview where he said that Alisson is going to be back within the next 2 weeks, which kind of rules out Kamin Kelleher in my mind. And I don't think I want to get to Alisson either because he's 5.5. I think he's kind of overpriced in my opinion. And Liverpool's fixtures are not that great after the double game week. They're tough. There's like West Ham, Spurs, Aston Villa. It's not that great. So I think I'd rather just avoid them. And so for me, I think there are some options that I'm going to consider to bring in this week. It's going to be Jose Sa, who actually has a fixture against Burnley away. And I've got David Raya, who's got Luton at home. And I'm just thinking specifically for Pickford, I'd want to just cover up his more difficult fixtures. In Game Week 31, he has a tough fixture. In Game Week 33, he has a tough fixture. And in Game Week 38. So I'm just going to be thinking about who is the best keeper that rotates and covers up Pickford's weaknesses. So if we look at David Raya, he's got Luton at home in Game Week 31, Aston Villa at home in Game Week 33, as well as Everton at home in Game Week 38. Now, I think that Everton fixture is going to be a banker for a clean sheet. The Aston Villa fixture will be more difficult, but Watkins did come up with an injury in this match. I'm not sure if that's going to be long-term or not, but either way, I don't really care who Arsenal are playing these days. They can keep a clean sheet versus anyone. And that Luton at home fixture, I know Luton have been scoring a lot of goals, but listen, if Arsenal kept a clean sheet at the Etihad, why the heck do you think Luton are going to score against Arsenal? So, no disrespect to Luton, though. But that's just where my mind is. And so, obviously, I'm going to be thinking that David Raya is obviously going to be a great option. But you have to remember that you're going against Gabriel, not really just picking David Raya. It would be going against an Arsenal defender completely. The second choice would be Jose Sa, who has Burnley away in Game Week 31, Nottingham Forest away in Game Week 33, and Liverpool away in Game Week 38. So I think you've got 2 potential chances of a clean sheet, but they're both away from home. So it just seemed very obvious to me that I should be bringing in David Raya. The only problem is that I'm scared to go against Gabriel. Like, that's the big problem, because Gabriel does feel like the best defender of the game. You know, in the early parts of the season, Arteta was benching him, and that's why I didn't really bring him in. But Gabriel was in every single one of my preseason drafts. But there was news, I think there was leaks about, Gabriel not starting the first match. So that's why I didn't have him in my team in Game Week 1. I actually had Saliba there. I wish I just kept him all season. He would have been a wonderful player to own. But I've been going against Arsenal defense for so long, and I just feel like the template has it. If I take a -4 to bring in somebody that's part of the template, I just think I'm going to be behind the 8 ball. And on top of that, the guy that's first in my mini league is 40 points ahead of me, and he owns Gabriel as well as Saliba. So I'm just thinking in my mind that if I go to one of them, then it's going to be hard for me to make up 40 points from now until the end of the season, especially given the fact that he has all of his chips in hand. So I think the only way that I think I can climb against him is if I bring in differentials that he doesn't really own. And I know I shouldn't be looking specifically at someone else. I should be looking to maximize the points that I have in my team. But I just think specifically for me, I really like this goalkeeper rotation, and I like the fact that it's a differential. So it's a win-win in my book. Another reason that I'm comfortable going against Gabriel is that the points difference between them in FPL is not that big. Raya averages 4 FPL points per match, and that's exactly what Gabriel averages. If you look at the Arsenal goalkeeper position in FPL, that would be the Ramsdale points as well as David Raya's points. That's 112 points. If you look at Gabriel, the center back, his FPL points, that's 109. The difference is not that big. Now, of course, you have to caveat certain things, because Gabriel missed 4 games this season, and in those 4 games that he missed, Arsenal put 2 clean sheets. So of course, the difference between David Raya and Gabriel would probably be around like maybe 12, maybe to 20 points, maybe in that range. But I think over the course of the season, yeah, of course, Gabriel is the better pick. But what if there's some positive variance? What if David Raya goes out there and, gets a penalty save? I mean, he did that in the Champions League. Why couldn't he do it in the Premier League? He can definitely do it. Maybe he can get an assist somehow. But when Gabriel gets that goal, because he will get one, it will hurt. And I will regret this decision as soon as that happens. But I just think at this point, you kind of have to just take a hit. And if I join the template, I feel like I'm losing. I feel like I'd just be admitting defeat. But I'm going to tell you this. If we find out next season, if Gabriel and Saliba are below 6.0, I'm going to be bringing those guys first names on my team sheet. I think I'm going to be doubling up on Arsenal defense. In fact, if Saka is at like 10.5, maybe even 11.0, I wouldn't even go to Saka. I'd probably triple up on Arsenal defense. I genuinely believe that their defense is insane. The best in all of Europe right now. This is the moment that you've probably been waiting for, and this is what my team selection looks like. I did make 2 transfers, even though I only had 1 free transfer, and that free transfer was Son to Salah. That was a no-brainer. I did that before his price rise to 13.3. I got him at 13.2. I'm sure some of you probably got him at like 12.9, maybe 13.0 a couple weeks ago, but I had to eat some price rises, and that's fine. And I did do Kaminsky to David Raya, which feels like a massive upgrade. Honestly, going from a Luton keeper to an Arsenal keeper, that's different. It's probably worth the -4 just in this week alone. Now, of course, after saying that, I'm going to be starting David Raya, and would you be surprised if Chong or Morris scored? No. They've been very consistent, but I'm kind of hoping that they keep a clean sheet. Maybe the effective ownership for Arsenal will be so high that I might actually be cheering against Arsenal even though I own Raya. Such a weird game FPL is, but we'll see how things are once the game week starts. Moving on to my defense, I've got Zibani playing against Crystal Palace at home. I mentioned earlier that Crystal Palace are playing more offensive, so I'm not sure if I'll get a clean sheet here, but just happy to own Zibani. He's just going to be sitting there, solid fixture, and then ready for a bench boost in 34. 8 Nuri, this is my spicy differential. This is one of the reasons that I didn't want to bring in Gabriel, is I really wanted to bring this guy in. 4.5, really strong attacking threat. He actually just played Aston Villa, and he had a sitter. I think he had an XG of 0.7 in that match, and he's a defender. Bro, I cannot wait to own this guy as a differential. Has Burnley away. I wish it was at home. I'd feel more confident of a clean sheet, but just knowing how FPL is, we're probably not going to get it clean, but I'm going to be hoping for an attacking return. He's been their best player recently. Very, very excited to have him in my squad. Virgil van Dijk, Sheffield United at home. It really doesn't get better than this. I'll be waiting for that corner where he gets the goal. Come on, Virgil, you got this. And I'm happy to own Liverpool defense as a differential. Moving on to my midfield, I love it. I love my team. I've got Odegaard and Saka. I think Arsenal are going to score 5 goals, so I'm happy to own them. I'm just hoping that they both start and Arteta doesn't rotate heavily in this match. Palmer is playing against Manchester United away, and the way that Man United play, they don't play football games. They play basketball games, bro. Those games are back and forth. There's lots of goals in that match. I'm sure Palmer will probably get something. Foden as a differential. The double game weeks have come and gone. The double game weeks kind of ruined his EO, but now that people are focused on Salah and trying to get Son, it's like they forgot about Phil Foden. Don't forget how good this guy has been. He carried Manchester City for the first half of the season. That's not going to be changing now. Have you looked at Man City's fixtures from now till the end? They're easy. I love owning Phil Foden, especially for Aston Villa at home. They play a really high line, so that's going to be a great fixture for Phil, maybe even for Erling Haaland. I'm not sure if Haaland's ownership will be that far up above 110% maybe, because Salah does feel like the best captaincy option, and we just have so much faith and trust in Mo over the last couple of years, just captaining him for so many weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if Haaland's EO is max 110%. And of course, Salah, Egyptian King, I'm predicting his EO to be around like 170%. I think he's the clear favorite for captaincy after what happened earlier this week from all the different variables and situations that we went through this game week. And lastly, I've got Dominic Solanke, Crystal Palace at home. Yo, Dom's been really consistent. Really glad to have him on my team. Such an underrated player. And if the hype is what they're saying about Crystal Palace, where they're more attacking, then maybe Solanke come through with something. If anything, maybe even Semenyo can get another goal just to like keep him warm and make sure that he's nailed for those 90 minutes in the double game weeks in 34. So I really like what my team looks like overall. This seems like a much better team on paper than what I had in game week 30. So I'm glad it didn't get a red arrow in game week 30. And I think in game week 31, I'm set up to have another green. Even though I'm taking a -4, I'm very confident. I love the differentials that I've got in my squad. If you stayed all the way to this portion of the video and you haven't subscribed and you haven't liked, what are you doing? Go do that, because yo, honestly, if you're listening to this point, you're obviously vibing with my content and I rate you. So welcome to the community. Hopefully I can convert some of you guys to subscribe to my videos. I've only got a 20% of viewer to subscriber rate, which is crazy. So show your support, hit that subscribe button. Hopefully I provided some value to you over the course of this video. And yeah, I'm hoping you guys had a wonderful day. Peace.